In this lecture, we are going to be creating our first custom page here in Django. So it's really awesome that we were able to get this page showing up, right? Like this is cool. This is something actually live that we can see in a browser, but this isn't our own creation, right? This is Django's default page that shows up just when you get your website up and running. So the main goal, even though it's not going to be looking very fancy, is to get something of our own creation up here. And the big goal for this lecture is for you to understand the whole flow of information on Django, right? So when someone asks for a specific URL, how do we route them to the correct places and ultimately give them back some HTML? Well, like I said in last lecture, anytime someone is looking for a URL on our website, it comes to this urls.py. And so it's inside of here where basically if someone goes to our website and wants to change the URL to say, you know, the homepage / I like eggs, that, you know, that information is then going to come back to this urls.py, and it's going to basically say, hey, is there anything here named I like eggs? So for a very quick and simple lesson on this, you can see there's this thing called admin that's there, and this is going to help us eventually work with the database, but we don't really need to worry about that right now. All I want to show you is that if someone types in the name admin, it's going to take them to the admin portion of our site. So if we go back here, and instead of saying I like eggs, if they do /admin and hit enter, it's going to take them to this admin page, right? Simple enough. But look what happens if we go back to Adam and say, instead of Adam or admin, I want I like eggs. Okay, and we'll go ahead and save that. Now, something that's really cool, Django, anytime you make a change to a file, it's going to auto reload the server for you. So you don't have to manually go back and say, oh, stop, start again. It, you know, picks it up with the new information. If we go back now to the website, and let's, you know, just for transparency's sake, go back to the home page. That works fine. And we go to /admin like this. Look at that, page not found. Well, look what happens if we change admin to I like eggs. Now it takes us to the admin page. So really all that's going on here is whatever you type after the name of the website, so the name of the website / it's coming into this URL patterns list and saying, hey, does anything match what just came through? And so if we say I like eggs should go to admin, that's what's going to happen. Okay, but like I said, we're not working with the admin page, so let's just go ahead and delete this line entirely. In fact, we can even delete this line about admin here. So what we do want to do though is create our first one, and that's going to be a path for the home page. So if someone just comes to the home page of our website. And I want to clear this up a little bit. You know, if this was a live website on the internet, it'd have its own domain name. Like, for example, this might be wordcount.com. And so if they go to wordcount.com, that's the home page URL for our website, right? But in our little testing environment, this 127.0.0.1:8000, that's our homepage. So whenever you see this string of numbers here, just think that's the same thing as like wordcount.com, and any slash that's after that is like, you know, wordcount.com/. So, but let's, you know, we just want something here for the homepage. We don't want this Django template page. And so we're going to go back to Adam here, and we are going to create a new path. And the path is going to basically say if someone comes to the home page, meaning they don't put anything after the home page, so we're just going to put an empty string here. We do a comma, and then we say where it is that we want to send the user to. And so we have to create a new file called views.py, which essentially allows us to send back some information. So to do that, we need to first create a new file. So we're going to right click on word count here, new file, and I'm going to call this views.py. Okay, so with that in place, now we can go back to our URLs, and we're going to import this views file so that we can actually use it here in this file. So we're going to say from dot, meaning this directory, import views, which then means we can say, all right, if someone doesn't give us anything after the home page, we want to take them to views dot, and then we have to give them the name of a function that's inside of this views.py. Well, we don't have any function names yet, so let's go make one. So if someone wants to come to the home page, let's make a function called home. We're just going to do def home, just like this with some parentheses, And inside these parentheses, we need to put a request. So anytime someone is coming looking for a URL on our website, it sends this request object, which basically says, you know, what's the URL that they're looking for? And there's some more advanced and stuff inside of there, like some cookies and, you know, what browser they're using, all this information. But that comes through as this request object. So this is a parameter to this home function. Then we decide what it is we're going to send back to the user right here. And so we can do a return like this. And we could start here by just doing a string, right? Like we could just say return hello. So we have this function home. And so we're going to say if someone doesn't give us any sort of URL after the home page, we're just going to send them to views.home. Simple as that. So hit save, make sure you have both of those files saved. Let's go back to our home page here and just hit enter to reload it, and look at that. We don't get anything because we can't just simply send a string back from this function. We have to give back an HTTP response. So in order to do that, we have to import some code in order to make this happen. So up here at the top of the file, we are going to say from Django dot lowercase HTTP, so that's all lowercase, import capital HTTP capital response, just like that. And this is basically some Django code that allows us to very simply return back some information as an HTTP response. We can essentially return back this hello very quickly if we do this. So rather than just returning a string, we're going to return back HTTP response, and then inside of the parentheses, now we're going to add that hello just like that. So hit save, and now when we come back to our website and reload, boom, look at that. We have our hello. How cool is that? Right? So someone came to our homepage. It didn't add any extra information. So then it came to our urls.py and it said, oh, look, I have a match for that. If it's sort of an empty string, if there's nothing else after the slash, send them to views.home, which is this function over here, and it spit back hello. And if we wanted to change anything about this, we could. Like, we don't like the name home for a function. We could call it like home page, for example. Well, we change that to home page. We change this to home page. And if we reload, well, it was supposed to be totally fine. There we go. It works. If we want to make it so that if we go, let's just do an entirely new one. Like I want to go to, for some reason, I'm really stuck on eggs for an example. If I want to do the home page / eggs, if I do it right now, we get this page not found. But I can come back here and say, you know what? I want to make a new path, and make sure you have after each of these a comma because we want this to be a running list here. So if someone gives me eggs and I want to send them to a new function that I'm going to call eggs, for example. So I'm going to, if they give me eggs, I'm going to send them to the view.eggs, and let's do def eggs where they pass me a request. I am going to return HTTP response with something like eggs are great. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save this. It's always good function here to after the name of your path that you put a slash, a trailing slash at the end. So go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and reload this page now. And look at that. It says eggs are great. So this is a great way to send back some text, but you know, what if we want to send some HTTP? Well, we could technically just go to, for example, in this eggs silly example, we could just put something like H1 and do like another ending H1 tag and say something like eggs inside of there. And if we save and reload, all of a sudden it's going to show that in an H1 tag. Like, that's fine. But can you imagine writing a whole HTML document here inside of this tiny string? Like, this would be awful. Like, this is not good. So we want to separate our HTML code from the view code here. So to do that, we have to use something called a template. And we're going to be talking about that in the next lecture. So before we move there, though, I just want you to understand the flow of information. Someone passes in a URL to our website. It goes to our urls.py and it says, does that URL that they gave us match anything? Oh, it matches the eggs. Okay, send them to the views.egg, which we imported here, and it's going to go to views. Oh, look, there's the eggs function, boom, and it passes that back. Okay, all right, now let's go ahead and learn about those templates.